She is starting to cry. A mature lady spoke, muttering hushed words to the family of the girl. The youngling in question silently watched her parents converse with her classroom teacher. Seated in an isolated corner of the class is a very young child, bright eyes curiously watching the couple who seemed to have small disagreement. For whatever reason, this scene playing before her eyes gave her a strong sense of deja vu. So did the quiet words her teacher said. Eventually, a question popped in mind, even that made her feel as if she already had, though, before way too times to remember. Am I too sensitive? She liked to think this strange feeling in her stomach was a one-time thing, but it always hit her in the most bizarre manner, like when she not unintentionally thought to herself, is this what having friends are like? Although, as far as she could remember, she always had friends around her. So then why does a painful feeling consume her whenever she thought of anything friend-related? The young girl looked down at her fingers. She oddly recalled her hands being bigger. She glanced around, observing the position an empty classroom. The world around her appeared so surreal. Was it always this bright and colorful? Wasn't it supposed to be gloomy and glum in her classroom, like a place that reeks of misery, years of history written and scrambled across the halls and the deck? In a messy way of passing time, she never understood why anyone would write nonsense as a dull form of entertainment. Ian, you have to leave now. Your parents are waiting for you outside. It is her teacher's voice. The unlimited snaps her out of her daze. She meekly looks at the blonde-haired woman and, feeling a dread pierce her chest, like she was accepting, preparing herself to be scolded for being overly sensitive, crying off even when subtly teased. She slowly raises, grabbing her bag and quickly leaving her after getting her a polite nod. Would a kindergartner urgent themselves this much over a couple or more harsh advice? Hey, sweetie, are you, why are you so dull today? Did your teacher scold you? The soft voice of her mother brings her out of her thoughts. She briefly gazes at her mother and shakes her head without uttering a word. No matter what your teacher says, don't take it to heart, dear. This was when she realized something important. Please go out with me. An uninspected male, not from her high school, not from her high school, exclaimed, holding out a gift he had prepared with struggles. She had been attracting a lot of confusion lately. This one, in particular, was determined in seeking her out. While she was guilty of enjoying the attention, she certainly did not date anyone for fun, she replied the same Delange in most who did come up to her and barely win her heart, and have their share of amusement. Okay, then come and ask my parents for my hand in marriage. That made him take a step back, raising his eyebrows in bewilderment. Are you serious? We're not even the age yet, he said. This was the part she didn't prefer. Convincing her to date for a brief period, then maybe cheat on her for someone prettier. Was she just? No. Was she being too harsh? Maybe, well, better to be happy than sorry. I know if you like me, you'd come and marry me for good. I wouldn't want you to leave me after all, she replied. That made him gulp, droplets of sweat seeping down his forehead, and he clenches the object harder. I see. You are right, then. Is it a yes? He asked gleefully, gleaming with satisfaction. Perhaps. That depends on you now, she replied, smiling innocently. Watching him just breathe in rapidly was odd, disturbing. The expression on his exterior appeared more rosy. He, as he was shaking, went on his merry way. She noticed something, his uniform. He was a UA student, and she knew him somehow. What she didn't know was that he intended to do everything she asked in the future. She had a nosy neighbor who seemed to change their vocal cords every single day. She's been to their home before, and they appeared nice. Perhaps it was their son who seemed to be a troublemaker. She had seen him a couple of times. She has a crush, a large one. He's smart, he's strong, he's also very temperamental, which also she could handle if she were to marry him. Every day she attempts, but every shot at cracking his tough walls had failed miserably. So, today after school, and right after incredibly rejecting the poor guy, she approached the hot-headed male's house with the admiration of maybe coaxing him out into loving her, which she knew wasn't going to happen, but dreams are meant to be dreamt. Eventually settling into his room, she dwelled for a bit, carelessly laying her back, protested, plopping her arm on her forehead. She thought on her decision to confess. She could, but a part of her did reject refusal. Harnessing the entrance unboiled, she shot up, widening, staring at the blond male who gazed at her. He grimaced. Grinned, starting with a greeting, to which getting a response back might as well have been too hard to try. "What do you want?" he roughly asked, standing at the entrance with no intentions of nearing her. She could understand. She loved her privacy too. She swiftly, nervously, raising to her feet when she felt too uncomfortable. With a frustrated sigh, she began to explain. So, I want to ask you something. She intends to carry on, but Katsuki was quick to speak. If it's a love confession, I don't want to hear it, he interrupts, his glaring eyes narrowing swiftly, his demeanor even if it was a feel of burden. No, I came to play with your... No, I came to play with your PlayStation. That game was so fun. I wanted to play it again and maybe borrow it. She ended, looking for any telltale signs of more denials. Tisk, whatever. You can have it, but I want it back later, you idiot. And with that, she realized a fragment of important memories. She deserved that, didn't she? Well, in her young albumness, she got approved by a willing father who wanted to get his son married to a proper spouse. Her parents did intend on refusing, saying she was too young to marry, and they didn't want to support forced marriages, since it was mental damaging to both sides if they do not like each other. And she did not want to reject the proposal. However, after seeing the son, she got attached, majorly attracted. Her heart got stuck by an arrow, and she just ended up agreeing. He was the one for her, and she just wanted to let herself be careful. If only she hadn't been so keen on making his friends the one she rejected, and the one who rejected her. She would scream if she could, but she was much too confused and stunned. The green-haired male who was smiling before she came suddenly got tense and grew quiet, while the blonde male simply watched her in disbelief. Mostly the first one to speak was Izuku. "This is your fiancé?" He pondered out loudly, and she regretted her choice into making him think he had a chance with her, guilt-tripping her heart. But for Katsuki, she felt nothing. She didn't feel like him anymore, and she wanted to get married to Shoto. Yes, this is Yinlin, my soon-to-be wife. He involuntarily smiled, her cheeks glowing warm, looking away to slightly fangirl. But you said... Izuku begins, but it was cut off by Katsuki, who immediately shouts, "What the hell, Asihat? She loves me. Why is she marrying you?" He said, getting close and personal with Todoroki. She nearly confessed to me, Katsuki said, staring straight into Todoroki's eyes. Rigid back and stance took, foot planted to the ground to take a swing at her if he needed to. That was before she met me. You rejected her. So she's valid in marrying me, retorted Shoto. Wait, no, she said she wanted me to ask her hand in marriage when we were of the age, saying she didn't want me to leave her, Izuku yelled. She shook in her skin, just wanting to run away and avoid confliction. You can't just do this to me, Yin, Izuku said, deflating, struggling to cope with her obstructions. Refuse after years he's wanted. His eyes got teary, and she just felt even worse. I said that to not hurt your feelings. It was foolish of me. I'm sorry. But I love Shoto now, and I won't change my mind. He's the one for me, and I'm the one for him, she said. You have got to be kidding with me. Seriously, this half and half isn't your soulmate. Shut up. Stop spouting nonsense. You must be under some kind of spell, Yin. Snap out of it. Izuku pleaded. You love me, don't you? That's enough, Midoriya. You can't force her into your bidding, and bakugou isn't meant to be hers. I am. Katsuki growled in frustration, fist clenched hard, while Izuku could handle resisting the urge to cry. He was angry as well. She just betrayed him, and now he's going to marry his friend? He just could not accept. He wanted justice, and so did Katsuki.